Alright, Dan.
Do it with Dan?
Do it with Dan.
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 Do it with Dan. Do it with Dan.
Dan.
Dan. Dan. Dan.
Dan.
Dan. Dan.
Do it with Dan. Is there...
Internet people. So now I'm officially back from Chicago. I know you guys saw like the half-ass videos I did in my hotel room in the meantime when I was all sunburnt and shit looking like a cherry tomato with a big dick. No better way to come back and share a little story with YouTube. Pretty nice truck, man. I kind of miss having a truck. So I don't know if it's because I joke around about it a lot or what, but I get asked pretty often, Dan, are you gay? And that bothered me, but now I feel like I should clarify. Jesus. First of all, no, I'm not gay. And not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm not saying it because, I'm not clarifying because I'm uncomfortable with people thinking I'm gay or because I'm homophobic or anything. As a matter of fact, despite all the jokes that I make, I'm surprisingly open-minded. I'm one of the very few people that I know of that's for equal marriage and all that other good shit, you know, being gay and stuff. If you're gay, that's okay. But no, I'm not gay, and maybe it's because I joke around a lot about it so much, because I do. I like, what are you, fucking gay? Like, don't be fucking gay. I bet you like dicks, don't you, faggot? You know, stuff like that. And like I said, despite all those jokes, I'm still super, you know, that's just how I was. I don't want to say it's how I was raised because that makes me sound like a fucking racist or something, you know. I don't hate black people, but, you know, I've come from the olden days where, you know, everybody ain't right, it ain't right, you know. So I'm not racist, I'm not homophobic, you know, whatever. I just came from a generation that when we said that's fucking gay, that's what we said. That's how we said it, that's what we said. If you didn't like something, it was fucking gay. Like, that's how that worked. And you don't mean homosexual gay, like, you can be gay and you can be fucking gay, you know? Like, don't be a faggot, you know? Does that make sense? Louis C.K. made a great joke about this, and I'm not gonna copy his content.
Shut up, faggot.
Like, be gay, just don't be a faggot. Does that make sense? And I'm sure I'm gonna offend some viewers, you know. Actually, my favorite part is like when I talk about being offensive, someone's like, well, I'm gay and I'm not offended at all. Like, that covers up for everything bad that I've ever done. Because that's how it works, right? Dan, I'm gay and I'm not offended. Well, you know, fucking thank you. I appreciate that. I can say whatever I want. My president's black. I don't give a shit. Well, anyway, I wanted to kind of tell you guys a little story here. When I was a kid, in the young age of, I don't fucking remember, but I was still riding the school bus. I think I was still in middle school. And I remember it very vividly. I was riding the bus to school, and I didn't know what gay was. Like, nobody knew what gay was as a kid, you know? I mean, we said, like, you know, that's stupid or that's lame, you know, whatever, but that was before we knew what gay was. Well, my buddy, Brandon, knew. Which is fucked up because that's his real name. I don't know what he's doing now, so fuck him. Brandon asked me this question, and I didn't know the answer to it. This is legit. He goes, if you like shoving stuff up your ass, that's what gay is, right? That's what being gay is? You like stuff being shoved up your butt? And I was like, I have no idea. I don't even know what gay is. I was that bliss at the time, right? So me, being the natural inquirer, I go to my father for everything. Like I said, at the time it didn't make that much sense to me, but looking back on it now, like, that makes a lot of sense to me. So I go home later that day from school, and I say, hey Dad, I got a question for you. My friend asked me today, is it gay if you like things shoved up your butt? And the look on his face didn't make sense to me at the time. But looking back at it now, the face makes perfect sense to me. I can see it clear as day. The mixture of like shame and disappointment like goes across his face. And he goes, why would you ask that? And I said, well, my friend asked me if that's what being gay means, and I didn't know what to tell him. You know, the classic, oh, my friend, not me, my friend, you know? You know, when you're a kid, you're like, not me, of course, Dad, but, you know, my friend said, like, he was one of those, except my friend actually did say it, and there was no way my dad was buying that. Like, the look on his face was just like him envisioning me ramming things up my ass as a young boy. We have never talked about it to this day. I really want to just like call him. I want to call him and be like, listen, Dad, I know you were concerned back when I was in middle school about me being gay because I asked you if shoving stuff up your ass was gay. I didn't even think he answered. I remember him saying something along the lines of, well, you know, if you have to ask yourself that, maybe it's maybe that's pretty gay or something. He said something like it didn't make any sense. But I remember just like the look of disappointment on his face. At the time I was like, oh cool, whatever, you know, I'm gonna go play fucking Xbox. Later, Dad. And he probably went back and talked to my mom. He's like, I think that boy's gay. He asked me if he like shoving stuff up his ass is gay or something like that, and oh, our boy's fucking gay. Which honestly, you know, my parents grew up in the baby boomer generation, I think. Baby boomer? Is that the generation before us millennials? I think we're not even considered millennials. We're like in between. But my dad's in his late 50s. So whatever generation he's in, you know, he grew up in a pretty decently closed-mind generation, if you think about it. It's not nearly as bad as before. Still a relatively progressive generation, right? But my dad wasn't a fag basher. My dad, that fucking sounds so awful, fag basher. My dad wasn't he didn't hate gays, he didn't hate black people. Like my dad, and both my parents, you know, by the way, my parents are still together, but both my parents are like super open-minded about that stuff. And I feel like if I was gay, if I honestly love the dick, if I was like, hey, I love cock, if I said that, my parents would probably be like, hey dude, that's cool, you know, whatever. It's a little weird to bring out like that, you know, just say like, hey, I like cock, just put it on the table. But you know, son, we love you no matter what. And that's the one thing that I'm always I'm very thankful for having parents like that. I never really had any like major issues growing up. I lived a pretty good life with my parents, but that was always one of the best things about them, I think, is that I could have been taking dicks left and right and my parents would have still loved me. I mean, they may have disliked me for other reasons, you know, because what was that? What the fuck was that? Someone in the comments tell me what that was. Actually, I don't care. I need to turn there, don't I? Because I'm the dumbass. So that's one thing I've always been really thankful for, is the fact that man, I could have had dick in my mouth and my parents would have still loved me no matter what. And I realize that not everyone is as lucky as I am when it comes to that type of stuff, you know? Not everybody's parents is gonna, you know, love them while they have cock in their mouth. But I don't like dick. And it's not because I'm against homosexuality, it's just because I've never seen a dick that I've wanted to have in my mouth, you know? It's not something that I do. But you know, if that's what you like, then that's what you like, man. You can't beat that. Where are my fucking keys, bro? Hey, I like cock, hey, I like cock, hey, I like cock, hey, I like cock.
Faggot! Quit being a faggot and suck that dick.